Hey, what's up guys? So we are going to be doing a deck profile for a deck that's kind of under the radar right now. And it is pretty much a budget deck. I mean, there might be a few things in the extra deck that you might not have access to, but pretty much it's a pretty easy deck to build, and it actually has a good matchup against even the higher tier decks. Like Elemental Dragons, they don't like this card. Spellbooks, they don't like this card because you can't Fate and you can't banish for the High Priestess to, pop cards. So it's actually a pretty good card, especially if you can get it first turn. There are some decks that literally cry when Necro Valley is on the field, like any Chaos deck. They hate dealing with this. So this deck is pretty easy to build, and it has a good matchup if you get to go first against some of the higher tier decks. But going first in Yu-Gi-Oh is obviously already too good anyways. I mean, Royal Tribute is still so insane. If you Necro Valley, plus you have to have Necro Valley to activate Royal Tribute. But if you activate Royal Tribute first turn, even against Elemental Dragons, you basically win, because what are they going to do when Necro Valley is there and they have no hand? They can't banish, so pretty much it becomes a losing game to them. Royal Tribute is still a fantastic card. But this deck profile was actually taken from other decks that have top, top Gravekeeper decks from previous YCSs. There hasn't been too much popularity of Gravekeepers in the TCG, but the OCG, it did recently top. They do like to play Veilers in it, but I feel like there are certain decks where Veiler doesn't really hurt, where I decided, throw in Phoenix Chain. But if you want to, modify anything in the deck, there is this area right here in the side right here. These aren't cards you would actually side deck. This is more so if you want to main deck these cards, you definitely have the option to do so. Maybe you don't have Phoenix Chains. Hey, Mirror Force is still an awesome card. But yeah, that said, let's go ahead and finally get started with the deck profile. I already do have duels of this video. I know normally I like to upload duels of the deck, then I show you guys the deck profile. But I already played Gravekeepers for so long. It's pretty simple deck. It's pretty self-explanatory. Very simple and easy deck to run as well. So that said, let's jump into the deck profile. So I play one Assailant just for the versatility. There are cards like, for example, number 17 that have low defense. He has 0 defense, and anything that has low defense, you just put a defense position and basically it's 2,000, because in order to activate that effect, you have to have Necro Valley anyways. And all the Light Sworns have like 200 defense, so he's a pretty good card. Next up, 3 extra Necro Valleys. Basically, he just searches out your Necro Valley. Then 2 Descendants, because I just play 1 Space Typhoon, because I feel like a lot of the meta is really fast. In order to keep up with the speed, you don't want to clog your hand with MSTs and stuff like that. So Descendant pops any problematic cards. And then here's where it gets interesting. I think 3 Gravekeepers Guard is a fantastic card, especially against some of the other decks right now. Anything that XYZs, because there's a bunch of decks that just love to XYZ, and Gravekeeper Guard goes, oh, it's cool, you want to XYZ? By all means, go for first turn, Ophion, I'll just return that card back to your extra deck. And, he's just a fantastic card, but by all means, like I said, if you want to, opt to run, 1 or 2 of these, I do definitely recommend running 1 Guard. He's just an awesome card. Plus, you just flip, bounce something back, XYZ, do whatever you want to do. He's a fantastic card in this format, I would say. Then I play 3 Recruiter and 3 Spy, pretty self-explanatory. That's pretty much like the basic monster lineup for Gravekeepers. Next up, Book of Moon, because it's so great to, use Gravekeeper Spy's effect. And then Dark Hole, and then just 1 Stele. You can opt to play 2 if you want, but I feel like, you only really need 1. I mean, if 1 goes off, you pretty much secure so much advantage in the game. And if the game lasts long enough to where you get, multiple Gravekeepers in the graveyard, you usually are at an advantage anyways, because Gravekeepers is kind of a slow deck. This is not like an OTK deck. So if you're looking for that, this is definitely not the deck for you. Next up, heavy Mystical Space Typhoon, 3 Necro Valley, 2 Duality, and 2 Royal Tribute to round off the spells. There is no Monster Reborn because Necro Valley does affect both players, but I do think Monster Reborn is a fantastic card. If you want to fit it in here, by all means, you can definitely fit it in here. If you have Necro Valley, majority of the time you're at advantage anyways, and your opponent you usually end up popping or MSTing Necro Valley, so when they MST it later on, just Reborn, then throw up another Necro Valley, and then make them very sad. And then for the traps, there is 2 Bottomless, 3 Compulse. Like I said, it's kind of an XYZ format. I would say there's so many decks that like to XYZ, and Compulse is a fantastic card against that. And then 2 Deep Risen, it really deals with that Draco Sack. Well, Gravekeeper's Guard loves Draco Sack, because majority of the time, if you set multiple back row, they're going to go with Draco Sack and attack. Or maybe they could technically pop, but majority of the time it's Draco Sack, attack, and if you have Gravekeeper's Guard, and send that thing back, maybe move those tokens to attack position. Very good things that you can do in Gravekeepers. And then 2 Phoenix Chain, but like I said, if you want to play Veilers, you can play Veilers, but I feel like there are certain decks where Veiler doesn't hurt. Like, if you can't really Veiler Evil Swarm and make it too effective, whereas Phoenix Chain, I feel like it's a more well-rounded card against a variety of other decks as well. Against Fire Fist as well, Phoenix Chain, fantastic card. Then 2 Solemns, 1 Silent Road, and double Torrential Tribute. Remember, Torrential Tribute plus Gravekeepers Recruiters is almost like a Sangan in this deck. Pretty good stuff. But that said, let's go into some of the cards that you could technically main deck if you want to. It's there as an option. So, Effect Veiler, Malefic Stardust Dragon, Max Seas, Wonder One. It works well with Gravekeepers Recruiter, Deck Devastation Virus. If you want to main deck, I'd say only main deck one of these. Don't try to fit in more. If you're gonna main deck Malefic Stardust Dragon, then yeah, you could definitely main deck more of these if you want to. This card is fantastic against the Mermail matchup. Then one Macrocosmos. Yes, it hurts your recruiter, but it stops other decks to the point where they can't even play. Mirror Force, Skill Drain is also a card that I've seen in Gravekeepers, and it's been pretty successful because you have so much back row that really doesn't matter, and obviously you get to decide when Skill Drain goes off. And then if you want to, you can definitely use Utopia Ray. There's a lot of room in this extra deck. I would say that the most important cards, especially if you're playing Starlight Road, you gotta have Stardust, you gotta have Zenmeister. These cards are pretty easy to get, and probably like this card. These are like the main, I would say, the main three that you generally go for the most. But anything else is it's definitely optional, but like I said, it's definitely a budget deck, but cards like, Dire Wolf or Gaga Cowboy, you might have access to, so you might want to put in like something like Utopia, or maybe you have that. But anyways, let's go ahead and get started. So Zenmeister, it's really good. It can flip your Spy face down again, and that's really kind of where the card's best effect is. It also has another effect, something about like some wind-up would be destroyed or something like that. No, it's not this one. Never mind. It's another wind-up I'm thinking of. But anyways, Stardust Dragon, Maestro Symphony of Jin, Dire Wolf, Gaga Cowboy, Gemini Pearl, Levier, Shockmaster, number 17, Utopia, Black Corn, Photon Papillar Operative, Steelstorm Roach. Even though he's not so great against a lot of the highest tier decks, but Chaos Dragons is still a deck that some people like to play, and obviously Gravekeeper is not the highest tier deck, and it definitely helps maybe against Lightsworn. It's still just a fantastic card, just because you do have tons of room in this extra deck. I mean, it's basically like rank 4s, and occasionally you can make a rank 3. And obviously, if you do want to play Monster Reborn, you could technically get back your opponent's monster. Then one Tempo, and then one Zen mains to round it off. But yeah, like I said, guys, I have tons of duels of Gravekeepers a long time ago. I used to play this deck, especially when Road Tribute was at 3. I hated this card when it was activated on me. But when I have it, I love it. It's one of those cards where it's like, Trap Dash Shoot first turn, so good. But yeah, that said, if you're looking to build a deck kind of for fun, and it can technically be good against the higher tier decks, especially when you get to go first. Like I said, going first in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a significant advantage, as I'm sure most of you guys know. Necro Valley really seals the deal on it, especially against those higher tier decks. There's a lot of meta decks that just fall apart. You go Necro Valley, Road Tribute, and it's game, literally within the first turn. It's kind of like almost an FTK, except for you don't essentially win that turn. You gotta wait like a few turns, and you just sit there and you beat them down with your huge beaters. But yeah, that said, hope this helps you guys out. If you guys want to build a budget deck that's relatively easy to make and pretty easy to run too. Some of these decks can be kind of hard to run, I understand, but this deck you should be able to pick it up and pretty much understand most of the mechanics of the deck. But anyways, thanks for watching. Have a great day. Asian Eyes signing out.